Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. Today I would like to talk about the upcoming Fury LX and racing in general. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Thank you so much for the support, it is truly appreciated. And if you do enjoy my videos, please do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. So, on a recent Inside Star Citizen, we were finally introduced to the MIRAI Fury LX. Now this ship, as I'm sure you're all aware, is the dedicated racing variant of the Fury snub lineup, and the LX has gotten rid of all of its weapons and weapon mounts, replacing them with extra maneuvering thrusters to ensure that it has the best possible agility. Now this is quite an interesting premise, and likely a sign of things to come. The Fury LX doesn't just have no weapons, but it has no possibility of ever having weapons, due to the mounts being completely removed. And on top of that, like the other Furies, no quantum drive either. So this ship, unlike any other racing ship I think, is a 100% racing thoroughbred dedicated solely to racing. So we are seeing a new breed of racing ship coming along, initially from MISC's performance division MIRAI, in which they are removing all of the weapons and focusing purely on racing. And I am certain that we will see many more dedicated racing ships from other manufacturers come along as time goes on, to offer an even more impressive selection of options, and likely removing weapons and quantum drives for speed and maneuverability. But in regards to the Fury LX, who should get this ship? Well, unless you are into racing, this ship is not likely for you, as there is not a lot you can do with it outside of that. But that said, as the game does continue to develop, there are still potential use cases outside of racing for ships like these. For example, if you are in need of an agile ship to potentially outrun pursuers as a getaway vehicle, then this would be great for weaving in and out of busy locations that other ships just cannot maneuver at speed around. Of course, you would have to outrun them, as you won't have access to a quantum drive, but a useful ship if agility and maneuverability is what you are requiring. But outside of that, I don't know if there's going to be much more to offer people who aren't interested in racing. Now, in terms of its visuals, I suppose it's quite safe to say that if you like the Fury aesthetic, then you will likely like the LX. If not, then you probably won't. There isn't too much difference between them, but I personally love the Fury design. I think it offers something completely new to Star Citizen, and with the LX's additional sort of negative space open wings, I think it looks very sexy, and its livery is also a very nice touch, and something that I look forward to seeing more as the racing profession continues to further develop, with different leagues like Wildstar, being able to find a skill level racing league that fits your needs, and then one day maybe even getting sponsorships from in-game orgs or player orgs, displaying them on your ships. That would be very nice. But in regards to actual stats and price, we have no idea yet, as it hasn't been released. I imagine the LX will be quicker and have more thrusters than its siblings, but without the weapons and missiles. I also suspect the price to be about the same. I don't see any reason for it to change in any direction much, which actually makes it a great affordable choice for anyone wanting to get into racing, although earning it in-game once it becomes purchasable with Alpha UEC is something I always recommend, as this will just feel so rewarding. Now when it comes to performance, with the work going on for master modes, we will start to see a lot more diversity between not just racing ships but all ships, but I think it will be even more apparent between the racing ships themselves, as each of these ships will have strengths and weaknesses that players will either prefer or dislike. And this could be acceleration, maneuverability, straight line speed, top speed, boost capabilities, speed variations in roll, yaw, pitch, braking, and for atmospheric flight, control surfaces, air brakes, and flaps. And this is before we even factor in the upgrading of components, and ship and component age, wear, tear, degradation, and one day having the option to overclock components to get even more out of them. The difference between racing ships will be far and wide, and investing in a racing ship will not just be as simple as which ship do you think looks the coolest, it will be more a choice of what suits your style and ability, and the track that you're racing on. The Fury LX looks to be one of the current most maneuverable ships out there for the racing scene, thanks to its hefty array of thrusters and very light frame, as it is a snubcraft like the Merlin. But if the track needs more straight line speed or top speed, it will probably lose out to those faster ships like the Razors. It was also said that they have added detail to the Fury LX for air brakes, which will be hooked up once Control Services comes in, providing alternate options for maneuvering when in atmosphere. We certainly need a lot more details on this ship, and we will see how it performs once it initially drops, but then from there it'll continue to be balanced to get it to fit within the lineup of racers, because they don't want one ship to rule them all. They want these trade-offs so that people make a decision based on their abilities. For me though, I have only just begun dipping my toes into the racing scene in Star Citizen, and I am already hooked. So I may see if I can CCU or melt my current Fury to this LX, as I feel I will get a lot more use out of it as I further delve into racing, and I think that the extra maneuverability versus top speed will help me personally. Now I know that racing isn't for everyone, but I think more specifically, being a racing driver isn't for everyone, as in the Persistent universe, being the driver will only be a tiny part of the racing scene, as we can already see with the community race events like the Daymar Rally. Racing can require an entire team of people already, from pilots, not just to race the racing vehicles, but flying the racers and vehicles to the race location, security to ensure that they get there safely, even recovery crews and medics in case of a crash, cameramen, resources like fuel and repair for both the racing ships and vehicles involved in the logistics, not to mention engineers eventually, working with the pilot to push the vehicles by tuning them, tweaking them, and overclocking them. So you might not be a racer by ability or interest, but by involvement, you can be just as important as the driver to ensure that your team wins. And I see racing in Star Citizen evolving to be as detailed as any dedicated racing game out there, like Gran Turismo or Forza, but instead of just plonking you in a car, you racing the race and then loading into a menu to do it all again, you actually get to drive the vehicles back home, repair them, and physically upgrade them by hand, all the while spending time with other players. It is so wonderful to see such passion for racing in not just the community, but the developers as well, who so clearly want to make Star Citizen's racing scene as detailed as any other aspect of the game, and I am here for it. Anyway, that was just a brief look at the upcoming MIRAI Fury LX, scheduled to release straight to flyable in Alpha 320. I'm sure we will get a lot more information about this on the road to releasing 320, but do let me know if it is something that you're interested in or not, and if you do enjoy my videos, please do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. Also, come and hang out over at twitch.tv/supermacbrother. The link is in the description below. I am currently playing a lot of 320. Might even start doing a bit of racing, a bit of Arena Commander as well today. We will see. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind, it does the channel a big favour, and tick that notification bell if you would like to be notified when my videos go live. Again, a huge thank you to my patrons and channel members. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.